It's easy to see the Aston Martin influence on the new 2015 Ford Mondeo. Available now from Foray Motor Group, it's a complete revamp of an old favourite. A couple of months ago, Foray asked us to take a look at the Ford Kuga, and we gave that a thorough test in real-world driving. Now we're going to do pretty much the same thing with this car, a top-of-the-range Titanium Mondeo. When I collected the Mondeo, my first thought was that it looked way better than the previous model, especially from the front. The now standard Ford trapezoid grille really suits this car, especially in this colour. The look is enhanced by the 17-inch alloy wheels, front fog lamps and chrome trim. Chrome's a nice touch as long as it stands up to the vagaries of the British weather over time. Parking sensors, front and rear, come as standard. The car's very safe. It achieved an NCAP 5-star rating. It's got 9 airbags and includes ISOFIX for kids. If you've seen our review of the Kuga, you'll already know that we carry a lot of filming equipment, so boot space is really important to us, and the good news is that the Mondeo has got masses of it. We loaded the same equipment into both cars, and here you can see the comparison. In the past we owned a 2009 Mondeo, and I don't think this car's boot is quite as large, but it's certainly big enough for most people. According to the brochure, there's 540 litres of capacity. Of course, if you need more space, there's always the estate version to consider, or you've still got the 60/40 split folding rear seat. There's no high lip on the sill, so access is easy. Moving forward, rear seat passengers have loads of room. My average frame, although it's getting a bit more than average with each passing year, fits easily into the back seat. I've got loads of knee room, and as for my feet, well, I can stretch them out with ease. Pull down the armrest in the centre of the rear seat and you'll reveal this really handy ski flap. No TV crew vehicle would be complete without cup holders, and the Mondeo's got them front and rear. So, how does it drive? Starting the car is easy thanks to the Ford Power Start button, which is standard on the Titanium model and optional on the Zetec. This Mondeo is the 150 PS diesel. There are other ones available in the range, but this one's more than adequate for day-to-day driving. I'm not the fastest of drivers, I tend to stick to the speed limits of course, and it's certainly no issue for me in keeping up with traffic, and it doesn't feel sluggish at all. And for a diesel, it's surprisingly quiet. The steering feels right, it doesn't feel overly light like it does on the VW Passat that we sometimes drive. The cloth seats are very supportive, but for me they could do with a little bit more support just along the thigh. I'm a great fan of leather seats, especially if they're electrically operated, they come with a memory function and they're heated. I like all of those kind of things, and sadly they're not available on this Mondeo. However, you can choose to have the Titanium X upgrade pack. It costs £2,000, but for me it would be well worth spending that money, especially if, like my company, that you have lots of drivers driving the cars at different times and you're forever changing the seat positions. An interesting development is the Ford Active City Stop. It's a system designed to slow down the vehicle if the driver doesn't respond to traffic stopping in front. I haven't had the opportunity of trying it myself, thankfully, but it sounds like a great idea. The Mondeo has long since been a favourite with company car drivers, of course, so it's good to see that Ford have included cruise control. They've also included a speed limiter, which we find particularly useful when we're going on the motorways, and they've got those average speed cameras during roadworks, and it means that we're not going to risk getting one of those nasty tickets in the post. Whilst dashboard instrumentation is big and clear, I think you could argue that there's too much information on display at any one time, and I think Ford could do with tidying that up a little bit. Now, one of the signs, I suppose, that I'm getting older is that these days I drive an automatic car. I haven't actually driven a manual car for something like 4 years. I got into the Mondeo this morning, and okay, I'll admit to stalling it the first time I pulled away, but within a couple of minutes I adjusted to it again and it was fine. The clutch is very smooth, gear change very, very smooth indeed. It's like I'd never been out of a manual car, in fact. The Mondeo is a very big car, it's quite long, It can be difficult to see all four corners, and so that makes parking difficult. To help that, the Titanium's fitted with front and rear parking sensors, but it's also got Ford Active Park Assist, which basically parks the car for you itself. We've made a separate video about that, so take a look at it. Rain sensing wipers, power folding mirrors and automatic headlights are fairly common on modern cars, but it's good to see that they are included on the Mondeo. Fitted on the Titanium are lots of boys' toys. There's satellite navigation, Ford Sync and a decent DAB sound system. Glass-mounted radio aerials means that the looks of the car aren't spoilt. You can also play music from an SD card, and you can charge your phone from one of two USB inputs. I think the massive 8-inch satellite navigation screen, which also doubles up for your audio control, etc., has got sometimes too much information on there, and it's not easy to look down on it and quickly see what you want to do. However, the sat-nav does accept full postcodes and it's very clear. Whilst the screen includes a lot of information, what is missing is a reversing camera, and I'd like to have seen that included as standard rather than as an upgradable option. There's so much storage space inside the Mondeo cabin that having any more would really only encourage me to carry stuff that I don't need. So what do I think of the 2015 Ford Mondeo? Well, to my mind, there's no doubt it's a better car than the one it replaces. It's more refined, it drives better, it's better finished, it's got more in it, more bells and whistles, and it definitely looks nicer.